Okay, so for this demonstration, we'll look at the functionality of some of the financial dimension functionality on our main accounts. So what we'll do is we'll go to our general ledger module, and we will open up, expand the chart of account, go to main account, and what we're looking for is to use the default dimension functionality on the main account. So let's just say we select an expense account. So let's just use hotel expenses here. You can see we have this functionality that's called legal entity override, where you can add an override setting based on a specific legal entity. So we're in the USMF company in our Contoso demo setup here. So we will simply find our USMF, here it is, and add it, and add some additional setting that is true for our legal entity, USMF. In this case, we want to demonstrate the default dimensions. So we'll click here on default dimension for our USMF, and you'll see now here are the financial dimension that have been activated in our account structure for our USMF. So we have business unit, cost center, department, item group, and project. So we'll just say we'll use, for the example, we will use business unit and cost center, for example. You can see there's functionality has said it can be a fixed value or not fixed value. So if we are selecting a fixed value, then we are simply overriding any transaction financial dimension that comes in and say, for this expense account 601506 for the company USMF legal entity, every ledger transaction that hits that account should always be the business unit 002, the auto business unit. So we can set that as a fixed value. That one actually had a derived dimension, so it auto defaulted to some of the others. So let's just say that if we select 006 sporting dimension here, then we set that as a fixed value. We could say, let's say we use our cost center here, and we set that as a non-fixed value. So we'll say, let's say that's service operation 009. Okay, so let's see in practice how that works now. 006, 009. Okay, so we'll hit OK to that. So remember, the 006 has a fixed value. The cost center is not a fixed value. So we'll set OK to that. So now we'll go to a general journal. So I'll duplicate this tab here. And let's go back to my general ledger, journal entries, select my general journal, create a new general journal, and go to lines. And now we'll select the main account that we just did the setting for, and the main account was 601506, right? Hotel expenses 601506. So we'll select 601. I can expand here. 601 506. You can see we have hotel expenses here. So when I select that, you can see immediately it suggested my default dimensions that I had set up, right? So I have my 006 and 009. So let's see what that means. So let's just say we have a $300 debit, and we had our offset. We select our offset account, our Pettycast, and that looks good. So let's just go back and see. So you can see it defaulted to our default dimension 006 and 009. But if we go back and look at our, here we go, 601, let me just close this one. 601.546 and look at our default dimension. So remember, only our 006 business unit is set as a fixed value. The service operation is not set as a fixed value, right? So that means that let's say that this one would post just fine like this. You can see it defaulted to that and suggest those. But let's say that we change these values. So instead of 006 here, we select 004. And maybe even in our cost center, instead of 009, we are selecting 008. Okay. And just keep the offset. We're only interested in this one. So you can see now we changed both of them. And just recall again, so 004 was the business unit is the only account where we have it set as a fixed value, whereas the other one, it was just a suggestion. It's not a fixed value. So let's see what happens once we post here. Okay, so now that posted. So now we posted, and let's see the voucher. And you can see it posted to 006 and 008. So it did allow for our cost center to change, but it didn't allow for the business unit to change. It changed back to 006. And that's because we had on the default dimension, we had it set, the 006 was set to a fixed value. So it doesn't matter if a user selected a different value, it would simply be overwritten with the fixed value. So you can see an important, it didn't come up with an error and say, you know, you're not allowed to post it. If you want to come up with an error, you can set those rules in your when you're setting your accounting rules or fixed dimension values or financial dimension rules. But in this case, you're simply overriding whatever financial dimension that the user have selected. On the other side, where we had it set to not fixed, the 009, you can see that it did allow to change to 008, right? So it was only a suggested value. Okay, so that was what I wanted to show, how you can use default financial dimensions. You can also, if you want to have this blank always, the fixed value can simply be empty. It can be blank, and it will simply override everything that has been put in there with a blank. So that's another way it can be used. So hopefully you find this session useful. So thank you very much.